Alright, let's do this.
You've heard it. I've heard it. Look, we've all heard it. AI is going to fix staffing. Cool. I love the optimism. But here's a question that I always ask right after that. When the AI is confidently wrong, who owns the mistake? Because in public safety, pretty close doesn't earn a participation trophy. It earns paperwork, sometimes for court. So today I want to talk about when AI helps, when AI hurts, and the operational guardrails that keep it in the helpful lane. Not the marketing lane, the real lane. And that's coming up next on TiPS, Today in Public Safety.
Welcome to TiPS, Today in Public Safety, your go-to podcast for today's breaking stories in public safety news. Here's your host, Fletch, with today's tips.
Welcome to TiPS, Today in Public Safety. This is Fletch. I'm a NETA certified ENP, and every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, I try to bring you the latest, most informative, and thought-provoking takes on public safety. Today, we're taking a deep dive into when AI helps, when AI hurts, and operational guardrails. Now, I want to get something straight right up front. AI in the PSAP is not just one big thing. It's a bunch of helpful features that show up one at a time. Transcription, translation, draft summaries, call type suggestions, QA scoring, analytics, and wellness indicators. That list keeps growing, even if your staffing budget doesn't. And I'm not here to dunk on AI. A lot of it is genuinely useful. The problem is that AI has a special talent. It can sound confident while being wrong, where traditional software usually fails by breaking. AI can fail by sounding smooth, polished, and completely incorrect. But today is not about fear, it's about control. The goal is to use AI where it helps and put guardrails around it so it doesn't create risk while you're trying to reduce workload. Where AI actually helps in ways that feel real in the room. One of the most obvious reasons is transcription. If it works well, it's like having a second set of ears that never gets tired. It can catch spellings, addresses, and names, especially when the caller's frantic and the center is loud. It also makes review easier later, because you're not scrubbing from audio, trying to figure out if they said 15 or 50. Draft summaries can also help, especially at shift handoff. If you can move the key details from the call taker to dispatcher cleanly, you reduce and eliminate the repeat it 3 times problem. And that's a win as long as everyone remembers that it's still a draft. The safest AI features tend to be the ones that behave like a quiet checklist. The kind that nudges you with, hey, you never confirmed the apartment number. Or, do you have a callback number? Or maybe, don't forget to ask about injuries. Those are examples of AI doing what it should, supporting the workflow without taking over the judgment. That's where you don't eliminate people, you enhance them. So yeah, there are real benefits. When AI is helping you capture the info, you can stay consistent, and that is valuable. Here's what gets people into trouble. AI hurts the most when it inserts something into the record that no human verified. A draft summary that casually invents a weapon. A transcript that turns no weapons into weapons, casually. Or a translation that changes meanings just enough to shift the entire incident. These aren't small errors. In a PSAP, they'll spread fast. And then there's a human factor that nobody should pretend isn't real. When you're tired and under pressure and managing 5 inputs all at once, it becomes easy to trust a confident suggestion. Not because you're lazy, but because you're human. There's also the uneven accuracy problem. What if your AI works great for some callers, but struggles with some accents, or distressed speech, background noise, or certain dialects? That becomes an uneven service quality issue and will eventually create bias. Public safety can't afford to have premium accuracy for one group and just good luck for another. Then there's always that temptation to let AI recommend priorities or call types and even response levels. That's where your risk will climb quickly. An over-response will burn resources, and an under-response can get people hurt. And either way, someone's going to ask later why the decision was made and by who. Finally, there's a quiet risk, and that's data handling, retention, and access. Audit logs. If AI is processing sensitive content and nobody has a clear policy for who can see it, how long does it get stored, and how is it secured? You may not realize it, but you just expanded your risk surface without noticing. And that's where the line is. AI starts helping, but then it starts changing behavior, and that is when you need the guardrails. So what do the guardrails look like in English? Well, the first guardrail is simple, and it needs to be written down. Humans decide. AI assists. Humans own the outcome. If that sentence is not the policy, somebody's eventually going to treat AI as an authority. And once that happens, you'll see people stop verifying. And that is when your tool has become a liability. Now, the second guardrail is visual. AI output should always look like AI output. And that's draft, suggested, unverified. Whatever your wording is, it needs to be obvious. Remember, if it looks official, it will be official. And finally, your third guardrail is your no kidding verification rule. There are certain details that must be confirmed by a human, especially before they drive action. Things like location, weapons, medical status, maybe a suspect description, entry instructions, anything that can change the response in a way that could get someone hurt. It's fine for AI to suggest it, but the human needs to confirm it. And then there's the guardrail that's not glamorous, but it does matter. If your AI should disappear tomorrow, your workflow must still function. You don't want a PSAP ECC that suddenly can't operate because the summary feature is down. The AI layer needs to be an assist, not a single point of failure. And you want an audit trail that's defensible. What did the AI produce, and what did the human accept, edit, or reject? If you can't answer that later, don't deploy it. Well, there you have it. I don't think it's complicated, it's discipline. People, making or breaking adoption. If your team believes AI is a surveillance tool, adoption's going to get ugly. Quiet resistance, workarounds, and a lot of fine, I'll just do it the old way. So you need to be transparent. Train it like any other tool. Show what it does well, and show where it fails. Be sure to teach verification as a habit, not as an afterthought. And you need to be careful with QA. While AI is great to support coaching, it should not be used as a shortcut to discipline. If the system is wrong and the human corrects it, that isn't a failure. That's simply the guardrail working. So if you want a policy sentence that prevents half the drama, try this. AI supports performance and wellness. It does not replace judgment. Don't turn it on all at once. When you deploy AI, start where the easiest area is to validate. A lot of times transcription is going to be the first stop. Then you can add summaries, but keep them as drafts that require review. Then you can slowly add prompts that start behaving like checklists. And while you're doing all of that, be sure to measure what's actually happening. Don't worry about vendor promises. You want real-world correction rates, real-world error patterns, real-world time saved. And be honest about where it fails. Don't be embarrassed, because every tool fails somewhere. Now, once you have that foundation, then you can talk about adding more advanced features. Deeper analytics and any form of prioritization support should come after the basics are stable, and you have the governance in place to manage the platform. If somebody tries to get you to just enable it all, just smile and say, "No thanks, we like survivability." The reality check. You need to remember 3 things. AI is not a call taker. AI is not a dispatcher. AI is not accountable. And although AI can help you move faster, it can also help you make mistakes faster. And in public safety, speed without correctness is not progress. It's just faster risk. Remember, guardrails aren't anti-AI. Guardrails are pro-operations. Here's the bottom line. Remember to use AI where it improves clarity and reduces workload. Don't try to use AI where it replaces judgment. Make sure you put your rules in writing, label your outputs clearly, and be sure to verify the details that matter. Don't ever get to the point where you don't have a clean fallback mode, and be sure that you can audit what happened later. So if your AI layer disappears tomorrow, but your PSAP still runs cleanly, you built it right. That wraps up today's episode of TiPS Today in Public Safety. Thanks so much for listening, and I hope my perspective on AI gave you something different to think about. For more updates and insights, remember to follow me on social media at Fletch911. And you can visit 911tips.com for a complete archive of my previous episodes. My blogs are at Fletch.tv, and my professional website is at Fletch911.com. Stay safe, thanks so much for listening, and if you're in public safety, thanks for what you do every single day. We'll catch you next time.
You've been listening to TiPS Today in Public Safety, your go-to podcast for today's breaking stories and public safety news. Hosted by Fletch and available every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Catch past episodes on 911tips.com. Be sure to like and subscribe, and remember to join us each week for the latest on NG 911. I am Spider Harrison, the official 911 voiceover dude. Catch me on Sirius XM on various channels, including 90s on 9, the 10 spot, and on the Weekend Countdown on Hits 1. Or don't regret it for the rest of your life. Either way, I'm good.